Okay, so January's just up around the corner, meaning you're about to get a hell of a lot of transfer videos, so let's all just come to terms with that. This one is basically which former player should your club realistically attempt to re-sign. So no lads, not Ronaldo. Arsenal, Cesc Fabregas. Yeah, I'm guessing there are certain Arsenal fans out there who would rather shove their hands in a blender than welcome Cesc Fabregas back to the club, but hear me out. The man was a hero for 8 years at Arsenal, despite winning less trophies than Jimmy Traore, and at the moment he is about as unwanted at Chelsea as Ryan Giggs is at the family Christmas dinner. The Spaniard has always spoken well of his former club and has basically said he'd have signed for them if they hadn't chosen Mesut Ozil instead. But now lads, you have the chance of having both. Chelsea aren't offering him a new deal, but come on, a 31-year-old World Cup winner on a free transfer? Perfect replacement for Aaron Ramsey. Bournemouth, Matt Ritchie. Okay, considering Bournemouth were playing against Yeovil Town and Peterborough United a few seasons ago, it's fairly obvious they haven't let go of any superstars in the last 10 years. But Matt Ritchie was a loss, denting the club's ego by dropping out of the Premier League to sign for Newcastle in the Championship, which is like getting left at the altar, with the girl instead choosing that piss-stained hobo sleeping outside the church. Sorry Newcastle fans, but you were an awful mess in 2016. Bournemouth are built on fast counter-attacks these days, so Ritchie, a dead ball specialist, but would probably lose to my granny in a 90-metre race, and she's been dead for 6 years, might not actually get into the side. Brighton, Craig Noone. To be fair, I can't really find anyone for Brighton. They're doing so well with the players they have. Craig Noone, maybe, I don't know. I mean, he was sold in 2012 to Cardiff, where he spent 5 productive years, and he's now slumming it on the wing at the age of 30 at Bolton Wanderers. Yeah, probably not. Burnley, Charlie Austin. Right, Burnley are a mess this season. They need defenders, but Ben Gibson is back soon, so hopefully they should stop conceding every 12 minutes now. Also, they need someone to just put the ball in the back of the damn net. Charlie Austin could be a realistic one. He scored 45 goals in 2 seasons for them before his 2013 move to QPR, and since he's now spending his time juggling bench warming with screaming at bewildered cameramen, he could be set for a Turf Moor return. Cardiff City, Joe Ledley. I know what you're thinking, Cardiff fans. Aaron Ramsey is available on a free transfer soon. I said realistic, lads, and while I'm sure the man still loves your club, he'd probably rather chew on a bucket of monkey stick than spend his peak years playing under Neil Warnock. So you're getting Joe Ledley, alright? A man who joined the club as a 9-year-old boy, played in an FA Cup final for the club, and finally left in 2010, swapping them for Celtic, with his last game a playoff final defeat to Blackpool. Blackpool, a club who looked like they were playing in a stadium held together by sellotape. Since then he's grown a beard, played for Crystal Palace and Derby County, and at the age of 31, he wouldn't start, but maybe not a bad option on the bench. Chelsea, Thorgan Hazard. Kevin De Bruyne is not realistic. I'm just going to stop you right there. Thorgan Hazard is though. I'll be honest lads, when he first arrived at Chelsea, I assumed the club had basically thrown him in to keep his big brother happy. Let's not forget the Belgians had made a habit out of spawning comparatively terrible football brothers. Hazard got about as much of a chance in the first team as my left toe, so to be honest he probably was signed to placate Eden. But since being let go to Borussia Mönchengladbach in 2015, he's ripped it up, scoring 43 goals and grabbing 37 assists in just 159 games. So remember the last fella to escape the back of the Stamford Bridge closet to rip it up in Germany? Replace Hazard with Hazard, job done. Crystal Palace, Dwight Gale. I feel like I've been saying this for the last 5 years. Crystal Palace need goals. I mean, if I've been saying it, the fans must be screaming themselves hoarse. Glenn Murray would be the obvious choice, but seeing as though they already have a target man, even if he is about as mobile as a goddamn tree, I'll choose former Stansted striker Dwight Gale. The man has 8 goals in 12 games for West Brom this season. He's clearly unwanted at Newcastle, and he scored 25 goals in just 74 games for Crystal Palace. Not bad considering he was mostly shoved on the bench. Everton, Shane Duffy. Yeah, Everton are fairly overloaded with defenders right now, but just say they don't feel like making Kurt Zuma's transfer permanent. Shane Duffy's playing well for Brighton these days. The Irish international spent 5 years at Goodison Park, made as many appearances as he was shoved out on loan most of the time, but he's turned into a half-decent defender. Fulham, Chris Smalling. Speaking of clubs who need defenders, Jesus Christ, Fulham are an absolute shambles at the back. Look, Chris Smalling might not be the most realistic choice considering he's still getting his game at Man United, but let's just say Mourinho signs a couple of lads who can actually clear a ball in January. Suddenly Smalling's out of the frame for both club and country. I think we can all agree a return to the bottom half of the league beckons for him at some point. Huddersfield Town, Scott Arfield. I'm still confused why Scott Arfield is up in Scotland at the age of 30. Very much a Joey Barton move when he left Burnley for Rangers last summer, obviously minus the very real meltdowns. Arfield spent 2 years in League One with Huddersfield and won in the Championship before leaving 5 years ago. The midfielder can still do it in the Premier League. Leicester City, Danny Drinkwater. When Danny Drinkwater gets out the picture album for his grandkids, he can point to the fact he was a Premier League champion, played for his country and represented both Man United and Chelsea. Good lord, they're gonna think the man was a goddamn superstar. He wasn't. Oh good god, he wasn't. I suppose the man was used to bench warming at Old Trafford, but nowadays, literally everyone has forgotten who he is. He's Steve Sidwell without the ginger. Lad, go get yourself a move back to Leicester. Get back in the England squad because at the moment, you're doing nothing. Liverpool, Peter Crouch. No, obviously not. Iago Aspas. I'm probably going to get shot down for this, considering Liverpool's front three is apparently the greatest thing out there, and Iago Aspas is just that fella who can't even take corner kicks and looks like that short fella out of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Well, since leaving England, he scored 74 goals and currently has 8 and 10 for Celta Vigo this season. All I'm saying is that I bet he'd be a better option than Daniel Sturridge. I don't know what the odds are on Liverpool re-signing him, but Let's ask Daniel. Man City, Jadon Sancho. Okay, Jadon Sancho did leave Man City for a reason, so he probably wouldn't go back. And to be honest, it's not like they particularly need him. But the Borussia Dortmund winger is nearly 10 years younger than Riyad Mahrez, and it's going to be an absolute superstar. It could be a Paul Pogba situation, with the club having to buy him back for a massive fee, at least 10 times what they sold him for. 8 million. Man United, Memphis Depay. Yep, this is the one Manchester United fans saw on the thumbnail and are now ready to burn me at the goddamn stake for. Look, hear me out. I almost chose Wilfred Zaha, alright? Yes, while he was at Man United, Memphis Depay looked like a man who thought he was Ronaldo and played like Bale. There was no end product. 7 goals in 53 appearances was pathetic. But since signing for Lyon in January 2017, he's bucked up his ideas. Last season he bagged 22 goals. He scored 5 goals in 2018 for the Dutch national team. I think there's a real player in there that's worth another go in this league. What do you think? Newcastle, Dembaba. Again, I'm having to go realistic here, so I have to remember that Mike Ashley spends more on fig rolls than he does in centre forwards. I know Dembaba is 33 years old, but the sad thing is, he still do a job for this club. He's never really cost loads of money. He's had about 15 transfers, and I'd say half of them were on freebies on account of those dodgy knees. He's currently banging them in for Shanghai Shenhua in a league where the money is drying up ever so slightly, and the credibility is certainly circling the drain. Chris Coleman, anyone? I'm sure Ba would love a return, and I'm almost certain he'd be an upgrade in Hoselu. Southampton, Jay Rodriguez. It must be so frustrating for Southampton. They devoted all that time to nursing Jay Rodriguez back to health, only for him to turn out to be bang average for the 16-17 season, scoring 5 goals. But he already has 7 and 12 this season for West Brom. Is he rejuvenated? Maybe. Tottenham, Gareth Bale. Yeah, I know, I said let's keep it realistic, but here's the thing. Tottenham want to be taken seriously as a European giant, right? New stadium, having the apparent best goal scorer that ever lived on their books. Well, why not bring it home by not only keeping their best players, but actually dragging in a star signing? Not Moussa Sissoko for 30 million on deadline day. Bale is 29 now, maybe sick of the chaotic Madrid life, with the very real risk of having his car pelted by fruit every time he doesn't score. It's probably unrealistic, but you never know. We're living in a world where Tevez signed for West Ham and Borat hooked up with this woman. Watford, Ashley Young. Is Ashley Young ever going to leave Man United? Probably not, you know. He'll probably be getting wheeled out by the club when he's 85 and addicted to blue pills. While his contract is up in 2019, he'll be 34. A return to mid-table and hometown club Watford could be very realistic. West Ham, Jermaine Defoe. There were many times Jermaine Defoe should have probably returned to West Ham. None more so than last year when he stupidly chose the Bournemouth bench. Look, he's 36 now, and as a short-term bench-warming solution on the cheap, West Ham could do a lot worse. Wolves, Kenny Miller. Alright, well then you pick someone.